Hello, let's look at Chapter 1 real quick. The purpose of Chapter 1 is to provide an overview of the text. It does a great job of giving you some details in the chapters that you're going to be reading next. It's going to cause you to think as an instructional leader, and hopefully remember that that's how you are supposed to be thinking as you read to the text. The chapter speaks to the change that occurred when No Child Left Behind was implemented. A quote from the book puts it this way, and he says that an assessment expert, this is James Poppin speaking, is that today's public school teachers are now obligated to take part in an educational game whose rules have been dramatically altered because of significant federal law. Basically, he's stating that the No Child Left Behind Act feels like it trumps almost everything it touches. And if you've been in the school system as an instructional leader or as a public school teacher, your mindset has been altered because of this law that was passed down, whether that is for the good or for the bad. But your thoughts and your beliefs have determined whether this change was either for the better or for not. Change is hard, very, very hard, especially when it affects the classroom. And that's what NCLB did, is it affected the classrooms. And we as instructional leaders have to figure out how to help our teachers move on and to excel. Another comment that is made from our book is telling us that instructional leadership calls for principals to work with teacher colleagues to improve instruction by providing a school culture and climate where change is linked to the best available knowledge about student learning. Change is difficult. It's scary. It's hard. And we have to ask ourselves, if we are scared of change, then we must ask, is this best for the kids? If it's best for the kids, then we must go for it. Education often seems like a revolving door. We see wave after wave of changes, and they often come back to the same choices if we're actually in our field long enough. But change is there, and we have to make the decision whether it's going to be good or bad. And as instructional leaders, we have to help our teachers through this change. So some questions that we're going to have to pose to ourselves as we move forward with our text and as instructional leaders are things like, what are the emerging and current needs of society for the improvement of school curriculum and practices? How am I going to identify all the emerging programs that come out? Which ones are the best? How am I going to use them? Which ones are the best ones for my school? How am I going to provide the support that my staff needs in areas like classroom management or assessing student learning? How am I going to get everything done for them and make sure that they know that I care about them? And how do I make sure that I understand my school climate and culture? If it changes, do I understand and know that it changes? So as Chapter 1, as we begin and you roll through Chapter 1, it's designed to get your mind ready to assimilate or accommodate for the information in the following chapters. The point and the counterpoint sections are a valuable resource in opening our minds to see both points of view. But as you read the chapters, one of the most important things that you can do is to make sure that you read your assignments in Blackboard ahead of time and then read your text with a purpose in mind. Our text is going to take us through the role of an instructional leader, student diversity, learning, motivation, teaching, classroom management, assessing student learning, and assessing school culture and climate. It will open our eyes to what instructional leaders need to be to make the difference in both teachers and students. So we're going to begin our journey now to push our thinking beyond paperwork and 2 classroom visits per year to an instructional leader who isn't afraid of change, who desires to understand and improve teaching and learning. It's time to make